Hey, I'm Ryan from Interstrength Products, and the other day we asked our Instagram followers, what's something you wish you knew before your first competition? So today we're going to kind of pick a few of our favorite answers and fill in a little more details for you. So hopefully you find this helpful, and let's jump into it. So a number of people said something along the lines of bring actual food. Skittles and candies don't really fill you up. And this is a really good and important thing. A lot of people, they'll bring candy to their workouts, and so they're used to just eating, gummy bears or Skittles or whatever for energy. But at a meet, you are probably gonna be there for at least 3 hours, and that's not including the 2 hours after your weigh-in. So you're probably looking at least a 5-hour day, which is a long time to just try and survive off of sugar. Lean on something your body likes. So try not to go too experimental with what you're gonna eat, and just have something, especially after weigh-ins, something your body's gonna like, it's gonna sit well in your stomach. Something like overnight oats is something we use a lot. Heck, even like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. One rule of thumb, once you start to get close to that competition time, is try to avoid high fatty foods. They sit in your gut and they don't really feel very good, and they slow down digestion in general. So generally try to avoid high fatty foods and stick with more carbs and protein. So Andy, 83 kilos, said to make sure your t-shirts are approved. And this is a kind of a shock one for a lot of people. There are approval rules. So we compete in the Canadian Powerlifting Union, which is part of the International Powerlifting Federation. So the rules might be a little different in a federation you lift in if it's not that, but there are usually some sort of approval rules. So in the IPF, you have to make sure your t-shirt is legal, and a legal t-shirt is a crew neck like I'm wearing, kind of a V-neck, kind of a pocket, and it has to have approved logos. The easiest thing to go with is just a blank t-shirt. The other requirement is that it's also made of cotton or polyester or a blend of the two. So a cotton poly t-shirt, and make sure your logos are approved. So we sell a number of different approved t-shirts. Anything from SBD is going to be okay, and locally, nationally, our logo is approved. So anything up to nationals in Canada, you can wear our logo as well. Steve Quack said to know that there's not going to be any music, and this can be hard for some people. You usually train with your pump up music on, so you're used to blaring music when you're going heavy, and you're getting ready for your first lift, and you take your headphones off, and it's crickets. Well, maybe not crickets, but sometimes there's some quiet music. But in the IPF, the music has to be turned down as you're lifting. So it can be tough to lift without that same sort of pump up music all the time. So it's good to practice that. If it's something you use regularly, maybe practice doing a few lifts without music, so kind of get used to it. In a meet though, I don't really personally ever notice it. Once you're kind of lifting, once you're on the platform, you're just so focused that you don't really notice that there's no music. I don't find, at least. But it sure can be a shocker when you have your headphones blaring and you take them off and suddenly there's nothing. So it's a good one to keep in mind when you're getting to your first meet. So It's Still Me, Sarah, said, it's not as nerve-wracking as you think. Which, yeah, that says it all. Most people are pretty scared of their first meet, nervous. We get emails and comments saying that, I'm worried about wearing a singlet in front of other people, or I'm not strong enough to do a meet. And the one thing about powerlifting is, most people are pretty friendly. You go to your first event and, everyone's talking to each other. There's not a lot of machismo rivalry stuff going on. So yeah, it's not really, it can definitely be nerve-wracking the first time, but just try to relax. Everyone has to wear a singlet, so it's not a big deal, I guess. No one really likes to wear a singlet, but well, I mean, some people probably do, but no one's looking at you funny for wearing a singlet because everyone's wearing one. So don't be too nervous. So Atlantic Strong said, bring a pen and fill in your temp cards right after weigh-ins because it saves time. So this is something we see all the time. There's always a pen on the score table, and after about 5 attempts, the pen is no longer on the score table, and there's no pen for anyone to use. So always pack a pen, 2 pens, 3 pens in your lifting bag, So you're never without one, you're never trying to run around. You only have 1 minute after you finish your attempt to put your next attempt in. So if you're running around scrambling for a pen, or scrambling for your attempt cards, or trying to fill in your attempt cards, that minute wears down pretty quickly. So, have stuff handy, keep a pen with you. If you're lifting alone, you don't have a coach, you'll see a lot of people who have their attempt cards tucked into the clip on the pen, and they'll throw it on the chalk bowl or the table. They go out there, do the lift, come back, grab their pen and attempt cards, and walk over to the score table. Deadlifting Daryl said, your opener doesn't matter, go low and take the pressure off. And my first coach, Jeff Butt, who got myself and a number of lifters here into the sport, always used to say, and probably still does, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. So your opener is just to get on the board. It doesn't do you any good to go out and grind out your opening attempt. You still have 2 more attempts. If your opener is a grind, what are you gonna do? So pick something that, the rule of thumb is to pick an attempt that you can do for a triple. That's the one you always hear is, your opener should be something you can do for a triple. And if it's your first meet, maybe it needs to be something you can do for a set of 5. Because you can take a little bigger jump for your second attempt, right? Get that first one in, make sure you're able to do it to compliance of the rules for a solid set of 5, and you should be safe, right? There's commands, there's nerves, take the pressure off of having a weight that you're a little afraid of and make it a weight that's really comfortable for you. So Serena DeSantis 10 said, you have a minute to perform your lift, not as long as you want. Once the announcer calls bars loaded, there's a 1 minute clock that starts, and when that time runs out, you are out of time and you don't get your attempt. So what that means is, for the squat, or squat or bench, you have to have received your start command within that 1 minute. So you can see guys who running out the last second, they take it off, they walk back, and with 1 second left, they get the start command. That's okay. You can then take as long as you want to do your attempt. So if it's a 10-second grind, that's not a big deal. But be ready. Don't be off in the bathroom. Don't be, taking selfies or boomerangs or something, whatever you kids do. Most meets will have a lifting order somewhere where you can keep track of how far out you are. So identify where those screens are and try and pay attention. UNOV04 said you need deadlift socks. So you need to have knee-high socks when performing the deadlift. This is to protect your shins from the deadlift bar. And as someone who started the sport just before this rule came in, it's a great rule. They used to stop the meet every 2 or 3 lifters when the bar got covered in skin or blood or whatever, and they have to clean the bar and dry the bar. And so having deadlift socks makes things go much smoother. There's much less blood in the bar, much less cleaning of the bar. So it's a good rule. They don't have to be anything special. You can buy any pair of knee-high socks as long as they come up just below your knees. The one thing to note, and some lifters like to wear them for squat or bench and then deadlift. If you wear them for squat or you wear your knee sleeves for deadlift, your knee sleeves and socks can't be in contact. So that means you have to roll down the knees, or you have to roll down the socks a little bit to give a little bit of a gap between those two. But yeah, they can't be in contact. But otherwise, yeah, I like to just wear my deadlift socks all the way through. Then I'm not searching for them before deadlifts and I don't forget about them. You see some people who will do an attempt, take the deadlift sock down and pull it back up before their next attempt. But what that ends up happening is they forget to pull the deadlift socks back up. They go out for their attempt and the refs tell them to get off the platform, they have to pull the deadlift socks up. So just keep them up and yeah, make sure you have them. So we sell SBD deadlift socks, bunch of different colors, and they do a good job there. The new models have a little bit thicker knitting on the front of the shin, so a little extra protection. So definitely get a pair of those before your meet. So this one comes from me, and that is to pack your gear bag the night before you lift. So if you're lifting classic, which most people are going to do for their first meet especially, make sure you have your belt, your knee sleeves, your wrist straps, your singlet, your legal t-shirt, deadlift socks, shoes, maybe 3 pairs of shoes if you wear a different one for each lift, and then make sure everything's clean. So the rules state that all equipment has to be clean. So if your singlet for some reason, or your t-shirt or your knee sleeves are just filthy, give them a wash, make sure they're clean. Do all this the night before, because it's never fun to show up to the meet equipment check, or even if there's no equipment check and you're suddenly warming up and you realize you don't have your wrist straps or you don't have your knee sleeves. It's real stressful to try and find a pair at a meet, or you're trying to run home. You know, it's no fun. So make a little checklist, have it ready, pack your bag the night before, save yourself all that kind of stress the day of, and just be ready to go. And number 10, a lot of people said, just have fun. The first meet is, like we said earlier, someone said, don't be stressed out or don't be so worried. It can be hard not to be worried, but remember that it should be fun. You should enjoy yourself. You've probably trained for weeks, months, years for this. So, you know, try to relax, try to have fun, enjoy yourself, you know, meet people. You're gonna be surrounded by people who at least have one thing in common with you, right? They power lift. So strike up a conversation with someone. You'll probably have to warm up with other people. So you're gonna be warming up on a platform with someone. You know, it's a chance to meet people who have your interests, and yeah, enjoy yourself. The first meet is usually very much a place to set a baseline, right? And suddenly you do your first meet and you want to beat all those numbers, right? So it kind of gets the ball rolling, but just have fun, enjoy the day. If you have any questions or comments or anything you think we kind of missed on this, leave a comment down below. We'll try to respond to any of those that come in. And yeah, thanks for watching.